Well, hello, folks, and welcome. Welcome to Just Folks Conversations with Emma. I am just beside myself. I want you to know, my good dear friend. We've only been friends for a little while, but it feels like we've known each other forever. Zaneta Varnado Johns. If you think back about a year ago, Zaneta joined us with her first volume of poems, Poetic Forecast. Awesome, awesome volume. However, it pales. It absolutely pales in comparison to what she has brought to us today. We are blessed. We are fortunate. I personally am grateful. This is an opportunity for you to sit back, relax, get a cup of tea or wine, whatever floats your boat. I just want you to enjoy the ride. We are in for a journey of joy. Hello, Zan.
Hello, Emma. It's so good to be back. It's so good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm so glad you could carve out some time from your busy schedule, because since the last time you've been really busy.
I've been jumping. I've been having fun though, mostly.
Yeah. Tell us, what is some of the things you've been doing before we talk about your book?
Okay. Well, since I left you, I've been writing prolifically. I have written so many poems, and I never intended, after talking to you, to publish another book. But as you said, I wrote enough poems to publish a new book. There are 78 new poems in my new book. We'll get to that. In addition to that, I have recently, just on the 22nd of February, become a #1 international bestseller again.
Oh my goodness.
I'm a co-author in Voices of the 21st Century, Conscious Caring Women Who Make a Difference. That wonderful book was written by 50 women from around the world, published by WSA Publishing, Women Speakers Association. I have also been invited to serve on the admin team for the Passion of Poetry. The Passion of Poetry is an online platform for new, emerging, and esteemed poets from around the world. And I am a moderator. I review poems, I approve poems for posting, etc. I love it. It's such an honor to serve in that capacity. I have done recitations around the world. I joined a couple platforms from India, and I've been invited several times to contribute to anthologies, to recite poems on their platforms. That's another big deal that's kept me busy this last year. And the last big item I'll share, and then we can kind of weave it into the rest of the interview. I have recently, I don't think you've heard this yet, Emma, I've recently been invited to serve as an editor on the Fine Lines Literary Journal. It's going into its 31st year. David Martin, a retired professor, is the founder of this awesome journal. Actually, I should hold it up.
Please do.
This is one of them. I've had I'm going to show the one with the buffalo.
Okay. Oh.
And as you can see, it's like 300 to 400 pages.
Wow. Yes.
So I'm going to be working on that soon, working with that team, that editing team. I have poems that are featured in over 25 anthologies or publications over the last year. I've been quite busy, Emma. That's what I've been doing.
And you still have time and the breath to even spend some time with us. It's really amazing. Now, here's the thing I find interesting. Prior to your first book, had you ever published any poetry before?
I had not. That was it. I shared it quietly with family, occasionally at work, but no, never published.
Well, what pushed you to the point? What got you to that edge? Because I know you've been looking at it, I'm sure, for a while.
You want to know what got me publishing?
Yes.
Last spring, I connected with the poetry community after being interviewed on a podcast with Lisa Tomei. And Lisa is the founder of Prolific Pulse Press, LLC. And Lisa and Prolific, it's a mouthful, Prolific Pulse Press published my new book, After the Rainbow, Golden Poems. And so when I was interviewed by Lisa last February, after our interview, she suggested I look into getting some of my poems published. And she actually referred me to Fine Lines, to David Martin. And that was the first time I had a poem published in an anthology. And I got the bug, Emma.
Okay.
I got the bug. Every time I'd write a poem and see a call for submission, I thought, well, this poem might fit. Let me look at this journal. Or I'd hear about another poet who was published. I thought, well, I've got poems that fit that. And that's how I got started. And I was constantly submitting. And that's what poets do. Poets need other poets. We feed off each other. I also say women need other women.
Yes.
So we support each other, we inspire each other, we critique each other, and to submit poems and have them accepted is a wonderful feeling. It feels great.
And it has to be, because I think we've all read stories about people who've submitted their works and they've had rejection after rejection after rejection. But that has not been your experience.
Now, I've had a couple that were turned down. I didn't take it personally. If it's not a good fit, it's not always about your writing. It might not be a good fit, the timing might be wrong, and they may not like it. You keep going. You keep going. Or sometimes your poem might need some work. It's okay to edit. It's okay to go back and reread it. I do reread my poems. I do critique them myself, and I do edit, but I don't personalize. If I get a rejection, and I haven't had many, which is good. I haven't had many, but I was okay with the couple that I had. I was fine with that.
I want to explore the rejection process just a little bit, because I know there are people who are tenderhearted about having their work rejected. In that process, do you ever get feedback from the potential publisher about what it is that they feel may?
I didn't. I did have one that said it wasn't a fit, and that was the extent of it.
Okay.
But they are always nicely worded. They're nicely worded, and I can accept that, but I'm okay with it. But for the tenderhearted, I might suggest you have someone else read your writing. Share it with another poet. Ask for feedback. And you may get feedback. They might say, I love it just the way it is. But they might offer some changes that you could consider. So yeah, people say that you're supposed to get rejections. That's what they say. Expect rejections. Expect them.
But also, I think maybe what you expect is almost a self-fulfilling prophecy in some ways, if you think about the energy.
Yeah. Because I do expect to be accepted.
Oh, there you go.
Whenever I submit, I expect a yes.
Okay.
But I'm okay with the no, it doesn't. I don't personalize it.
Okay.
But I do, like you said, I do expect a yes every time I send one.
Well, that's good advice. So I want to really talk about the reason why you're here, which is your latest volume. I must say, my observation about your writing is that it's multi-layered, it's subtle, and in many ways, it's kind of like a graduate course. I mean, it kind of takes me through several levels of experiences, because on the
Mhm.
surface, your language is very easily accessible.
Mhm.
I wouldn't say simplistic, but it's clear, it's plain. Your intentions come through. And on a second reading, a third reading, and really it's almost like someone's tapping you on the shoulder to say, wait a minute, did you get, wait, come back, look at this. Did you, she's really telling you something else. Look a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
And yet, so you keep going, a little deeper and a little deeper into each of those poems. And so there are all kinds of levels of communication, really based on where you are as a reader.
Mhm.
And I find that if I'm in a different state of mind, the same poem tells me something a little different than it did the first, a second, a third time that I read it.
Mhm.
Um, I would say Michael and I had a discussion, and Michael's my tech crew husband, and you're a good friend. He knew you
Yes.
before I met you. We agreed that still water runs deep would be a perfect way to describe your work,
Mm.
because on the surface, it's kind of here, but by the time you just kind of go a little deeper, there's more to discover and more to explain, explore, and
I love that analogy. Wow.
well,
Still water runs deep. Hmm.
yes. So at this point, I just want to ask you, would you like to start us off with a reading of something that you think is
Sure. I'm going to put my glasses on because I want to share a poem that says a little about me. I think I'll share that one. It is, of course, included in After the Rainbow Golden Poems. And this one is entitled Who I Am. Girl born on Thursday. If I were born in Africa, my name might be Yawa or Abba or Yaba. Born instead in New Orleans, the Crescent City, I am Zaneta, named by my mother. It means God is gracious. It is the blueprint for my life. A baby boomer, my mother's baby girl, preceded by 4 siblings, followed by one, my baby brother, born 1 year later plus a day. September babies, Virgos, like my Chinese zodiac sign, the rooster. I am warm-hearted, bright, and honest. It was 1957 when I arrived on that 5th day of September. The Little Rock crisis erupted 18 days later. 6 weeks later, Elvis rocked the jailhouse. I'd like to think that my arrival rocked the world, if only in the ego of my mind. I am the light of God's amazing grace. I humbly celebrate all that I am and all that I am yet to become. A mother, grandmother, wife, sister, aunt, and friend. I am a resilient woman. I am a conscious, caring woman. I make a difference. I rock. God is gracious indeed. That was Who I Am. Thank you, Emma.
Oh no, thank you. Thank you. That was enlightening, and it's beautiful. And it's a tribute not just to who you are in terms of understanding who you are. Um, your acknowledgement of your mother was so beautiful.
Thank you.
Because naming a child is a huge responsibility.
Yes, yes.
And it impacts a person's life in ways that they're long lasting. That naming is very, very important. It cannot be taken lightly.
Not at all. And I'll share this. My mother, you know that my friends call me Zan, short for Zaneta. And one day my mother, she's no longer with us, but my mother said to me, Zaneta, when did you change your name? This was when I was an adult because I used Zan as an adult. So to honor my mother, when I published Poetic Forecast, I used my full name. And whenever I publish, I will always use Zaneta Varnado Johns.
That is beautiful. You're a living tribute to your parents, and you have a lovely poem.
Thank you,
We're
Emma.
gonna, if you don't mind jumping to that one, do you have your parents? Because both of them, while you find it, I want to comment about my experience reading your book.
Okay.
As I had shared earlier, when I first got it, I thought, well, I'm just going to flip through, and I had the electronic version, so I was just, doing a little thing. And then that little voice said, no, don't do that. These poems have been very carefully selected and arranged by the poet. There's a message in there for you and a journey you need to take. So I went back and started from the beginning and worked my way through on this beautiful journey. And so I am highly recommending that when you get your copy, that you take it from the beginning and go all the way through. And don't let me forget to mention the beginning. There's a little treat in the front from your husband that I think we should talk about too.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
So you want me to share Colorful Photo?
Yes.
This is a poem that I wrote about a beautiful, grainy, you know how the old historic pictures are grainy and blurry?
Yes.
I have a picture of my parents in my office, and I see this picture every day. It gives me inspiration. It's warm. I love the picture. So it's been there for sitting in the same spot for about 30 years. And one day I thought, last year, I looked at it and I go, you give me so much inspiration, Ma and Daddy. I'm going to write a poem about your black and white picture, but I'm going to call it Colorful Photo. I adore a black and white photo, lavish with color. What color is love? What color is family? What color is happy? In this cherished image, all are black and white. Her dress and coat adorn her divinely carved body, the body that bore legacies of their endless love. Bliss travels through her smiley eyes, gazing upward, loving and dreamy, fixed on him. He knows it. The tilt of his hat shows it. You tall, dark, and handsome man, my daddy, the talk of the town. I wish I'd been old enough to remember you in that suit, worn like a badge of honor. Tirelessly, you labored for our family of 8. So did she, my mother, who passionately catered to your every desire. You both deserved a good time on the night of your colorful black and white photo. I hope it was passionate. I hope it was grand. Colorful Photo.
What a beautiful tribute to both of your parents.
Thank you.
Folks, you all have to get this book. You must, because not only, let's talk about the organization.
Okay.
How did you, I have a cat. I don't know if you can hear her or not.
I don't hear her. Is she meowing?
Okay. Yes. She may want to sit in my lap. I usually sit in a chair, but oh well.
Oh well. I have a poem about a cat in my book.
I know.
You remember that one?
Yes, yes.
Okay. The organization.
Yes.
Well, the book, the title is After the Rainbow Golden Poems. And when I started sorting my poems, I called them golden poems because I felt like I had discovered gold. I mean, I had all these pages of paper and expressions spread out, and I felt like there was gold in there. And one night, as I thought about the poems, after I sorted them, because I was trying to figure out which ones should go together, what feels right. And the Lord said to me, your golden poems have their distinctions between those points. Group them according to the variations of gold. Like the refining fire of gold, the gold gets more and more refined. I start with poems that don't necessarily feel good, and those chapters are called gold plated or gold filled. And then I go through 10 karat, 14 karat, 18 karat, all the way up to 24 karat pure gold. Those are my spiritual poems, more spiritual, because all of them are spiritual. But that final chapter is deep and very spiritual. So those are the variations that Emma's talking about and the themes throughout the book.
And that is why when you get your copy, you absolutely just want to go with the flow. It's a beautiful journey. And this is also the kind of poetry that you can read and just feast on. You know, you read a few and then you sit back and you kind of reflect on them. And the ideas and the feeling stay with you for a while. So when you return to pick up where you left off, it's like Zaneta is sitting there with her arms wide open to welcome you back in. How do you find inspiration? What happens
when I write?
Yes, that brings these poems into existence.
Well, I can tell you during the past year, the poems included in this book were the result of me saying, after witnessing all the storms that we experienced last year and the last 2 years, because once I published Poetic Forecast, while I was in the process, I started writing new poems about what we were experiencing with respect to COVID-19 and environmental issues, civil unrest, social justice. But I also feed off nature and people. I get my inspiration from life. And so I write to process whatever I'm feeling. When the news comes on, it bugs me. The news is difficult for me. I actually stopped watching it because it just jolts me. And I feel a need to fill myself with good stuff, with positivity. I read the news, I stay abreast, but I turn the TV off. I have a poem about that too. Yes. I had to turn the TV off. And I stopped watching the news and started writing more poems. And that's where the inspiration comes from, whatever I'm feeling. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night. I think I've said that before. It could be a phone conversation with a friend. It could be celebrating something that someone accomplished, like a retirement, or helping a grieving father celebrate his son's life, or sharing a poem about the amazing Miss Maggie, who was approaching 91 years last year at this time. She will be 92 this spring. Wrote a poem to talk about her. That's where my inspiration comes from, whatever is around me.
You seem to be like a sponge in a way, you're open to so much. And it's that poet's sensibility, I think, that allows you to, not just be aware. I think many people are aware, but to have the ability to express it in a
Mhm.
way that gives us the language to appreciate and understand our experiences. I think that's really the divine right of poets to do that. And you do that very well.
Thank you.
You know, before we started recording, we had what 15 or 20 poems that we had
You
agreed upon.
did.
So I'm just going to throw it open. Anything that you want to share?
Well, maybe let me find my poem. I'm going to share an excerpt
Okay.
of the poem that I wrote to celebrate Miss Maggie
Okay.
last spring. I've got to find it though, Emma, so bear with me.
Okay.
Bear with me. It's a long poem, and that's why I'm choosing to only share a little piece, and I want
Okay.
to entice my readers.
Okay.
Here it is. I want to entice you
All right.
to go out and get the book. This
Okay.
Miss Maggie, approaching 91. Listen, she is an amazing woman. I had never met her when I wrote this poem. I learned about her through my sister-in-law, Janet, my sister, and Janet Sawyer. And Janet has known her for so many years, and Miss Maggie is like a pioneer, this beautiful spirit and soul that is lively and active. She ran, I'm going to share this piece. She ran last year alongside the LA Marathon on her sidewalk for 90 minutes. She's 91 years old. That's amazing.
Is that the picture of her in the book?
Yes, that's Miss Maggie.
Well, she's
That's,
stepping. I mean,
that's her stepping.
She's moving. You can see the energy. I mean, she's not kind of getting one. No, she is in there.
She's in there.
Oh my goodness.
And she and her son Emerson bought my book Poetic Forecast for her last year. And after she received the book, she was touched by my writing, and she called me. And we talked about the book, and we connected. There was a bond there, and I learned more about her. And one day she talked about waking up every day. She wanted to live. She said, when that sun comes through my window, I don't want to just be here. I want to live. And I couldn't get that thought out of my mind. So I wrote a poem. Okay. And here's an excerpt from the poem entitled, Dear Miss Maggie. Rejoice as you wake up each morning, awaiting the sun to shine through your window, to wake you once again. Approaching 91, still vibrant, still thankful, still wanting to not just be alive, but to be living. Miss Maggie, you are indeed living. You're still in charge, still commanding the respect you so rightfully deserve. That's an excerpt from Dear Miss Maggie. And Emma, I met her. They surprised me with Miss Maggie in December. I met her at a book signing event at Roadrunner Sports in San Diego.
Oh my goodness.
What a blessing that was.
Well, she certainly has opened up something for you, because you also had a poem that you expressed your joy at waking up in the mornings. And it seems that she's a teacher in that sense, but to be 91.
What page is it?
I'm trying to find the page. Hold on.
Or what's the title?
I'm not even sure right now. Let me see.
Is it Morning Sounds or?
I think.
No, it's not that one.
No.
It's not that one.
No. I thought I had that one copied.
There, so Spring Morning, maybe.
I think that's it. I think
is
that's
it Spring Morning? Okay, I'll go to Spring Morning and share that one. Sure, I'll share that one. It talks about spring and waking up. I have a couple about morning.
Well, there were several, and I didn't download everything, and I don't want to pull up my. Let me see what I got here.
Not sure if that's the one.
Yeah, but no, they're all good. You can pick, I can so throw a dart, find a great
Oh, it
poem.
might be today. Is it the short poem today?
What's the first line?
Um, Today is yesterday's promise. It's very short.
That's a goodie. I like that.
Okay.
Yes.
Today is yesterday's promise. Fulfilled. Celebrate. Help someone. Make a difference. Remember that yesterday you could only imagine tomorrow's promise. It's here. Don't waste it.
See,
That's today. That's today.
That is a gem. That's a gem. See, there's so much wisdom in your writing, and it can be, well, short to long. I'll just keep it simple myself. But you always manage to get your point across in a way that makes it so accessible to the readers. When you're presenting your work,
yes,
what do you intend to bring to the audience? I'll say this. The reason I say that is in December, because you're a graduate student who attended University of Colorado at Boulder, and you have a history with that institution. In December of 2021, there was an event, an online event, a celebration to honor two gentlemen that you did mention in the poem that you wrote to honor them. That your reading, as you're doing now, is almost hypnotic. You have a lovely reading voice.
Oh, thank you.
And
no one likes their own voice, but thank you. Not many people.
Yeah. So, as you present, what kind of preparation do you make, and what's going on in the back of your mind when you know that you have something to share? And I brought up that event because you pre-recorded your poem.
Yes.
But it was as if we were right there. I mean, it's so immediate, and the words again just reach out beyond the expanse of space. Yes. And just tap us on the shoulder and bring us right in.
Well, when I write and then when I read, it's a heart-to-heart experience. I want people to feel and see the light that God pours into me. I believe that every word shared is an opportunity to love, and I share love. I'm giving love to the reader. I'm praying for the reader. My words come and they're shared intentionally for people to receive and be changed. Use what you can. Take the love from what I'm sharing. Take what you need and share the rest. That's my intent.
You are clearly doing that, and it comes across in your whole presentation. And even now, as we're speaking, I'm sure that people are sitting back and feeling the love that you just bring in, bushel baskets full that overflow.
I hope so. I hope so.
You're doing that.
I wondered, Emma, there was another poem that we talked about. I don't know if that was the one, Born Day Thoughts, that I wrote on my birthday last year.
Yes, yes, yes.
I don't want to take things out of order, but
no, it's all in divine order.
Okay, divine order. Yes. I like that. Okay, I'm going to share Born Day Thoughts. I woke up on September 5th last year feeling mighty fine, feeling grateful, as I do every day, but it was my birthday.
Yes.
And these words just flowed. So it's called Born Day Thoughts. I left the warmth of my mother's womb to enter the world with all its gloom. I must rely on a higher being to defend my life's divine meaning. My joy and light beam from above. I want to share tremendous love. Thank you, Lord, for my special day. I have all I need you paved the way. I do not worry, nor do I fear. Your endless shield is always near. You and I have much to say. Your glorious words are all I pray. I'm careful with my every thought. No altered truth. Love can't be bought. I want all to see your light in me. No more ruin, our lives are free. I'll honor you in whatever I do. I'll gladly start this year anew. I'll strive to give the world my best. Please, Father, say I've passed the test. That was Born Day Thoughts. Just to piggyback on what we were talking about.
Well, and what runs through all of your poems is the love. That is literally, what I'm certainly feeling. And it's the warmth and the appreciation. So you have taken a stance of gratitude.
Yes.
And
yes.
And that's difficult for people to achieve sometimes. It's particularly because of the kind of world we live in, with all of the negativity that's so noisy and reinforced. So when someone is able to take that stand of gratitude in the face of what looks like disaster, difficulty, hardship, pain, all of the negative things that we see and hear about in the news, which would be reinforced with that.
Yes.
It is almost like a voice crying out in the wilderness, except that you're not crying out.
I'm saying thank you.
Yes.
I've got two anchors, gratitude and humor. I rely on both.
Yes. Well, it's not just working for you, it works for all of us. And that's your gift. That is your gift.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Along the way, you have done some partnering with some folks from other countries.
Yes. Yes, I have.
And before you do any reading, I just wanted to ask you what that experience is like when you share the task of writing a poem with another poet.
It was very new to me. And I was intrigued. I think I mentioned earlier how I connected with the poetry community worldwide, online, virtually. And I've been on recitations, open mic events with poets, and there are two that are featured in my book. The first one that I connected with is Sarfraz Ahmed. Both poets are from the UK, United Kingdom. And Sarfraz has several books that he's published. I'll just say a couple. 84 Pens is his new book of poetry. And one in early 2021 was entitled Stab the Pomegranate. And he had done a collaborative book with Annette Tarpley, who is the founder of the Passion of Poetry. The two of them did a book entitled Two Hearts. So Sarfraz, I'd seen him online publishing and posting poems that he wrote collaboratively with other poets. And I thought, that's interesting. How does that work? I was intrigued. And he reached out to me. Of course, it was, flattering and exciting.
So you had just had the thought. You were questioning what that would be like when he reached out to you.
Mirroring my vision, Dr. Janet Sawyer, that's what I was doing. Yes. And he reached out and we used a picture prompt to write on. And I think it was last fall, he sent me a picture and I was traveling at the time and I said, give me a week and I'll send you a verse. And then I sent it to him. He took mine and he wrote a verse. And then together, we tweak it. It's pretty fun. It's pretty exciting. So I'm going to share the one that I wrote, one of the ones There are two that I wrote with Safraz, and I'm going to share the one entitled Like a Child.
Okay.
It's pretty. This was the first one, so that's why I want to share it. It's near and dear to my heart. My stomach churns, twists and turns, acid burns as I wait for the sound of your keys at the door. Like a child learning to crawl, I try and stand up, but I can't help falling down. I want to scream and shout, but I can't get the words out. My whole world twists and turns, upside down, in and out from the four corners of my mouth. My smile becomes a frown, a crushed tattoo pointing down as I sit to steady the pit held deep within my soul. When I hear the key, I want to leap toward you with glee. I love you more than I love the earth. Embrace me like a child. Only then can I feel my worth. That's Like a Child. Safraz Ahmed from the UK.
Absolutely beautiful.
And you know, you don't know where his starts and mine begins. That's the beauty of the collaboration.
And that's
I don't even remember. I'm sorry. I don't remember what part I wrote. That's how wonderful. It's seamless.
That can be a very intimidating process, you know, working with someone else. But yet the two of you melded that perfectly.
Thank you. I like it.
It's a beautiful sentiment. And you wrote also with someone else. You have another.
I do. I have another one called Newfoundland, and that one was written with Pratibha Savani. She's from the UK, and her poetry book published last year is called Tangles and Knots. I love her book because she's a mindfulness artist. Her art is beautiful, and I wish I had it handy. She has art in the book, and she invites the reader to color in her art. You know how the adult coloring books look?
Yes.
And I took her up on it. I had a ball coloring her art. So Pratibha Savani and I have to find it. It is called New Wonderland. I'm sorry, I said the wrong title. Pratibha, where is our poem? Maybe if I put my glasses on him, I'll find it faster.
Okay.
Here it is. It's on page 49. She read this. Both Safraz and Pratibha attended my book launch event on Sunday.
Oh.
And I posted the video, so you'll have to, when you have 80 free minutes, you'll have to watch it.
Absolutely.
And hear them recite the poem because it's beautiful. I loved hearing them recite it. So I present to you New Wonderland.
Okay.
And again, we wrote it from a picture prompt, same process.
Okay, good.
On this rock, I contemplate the water's voice below. Trees shelter me from what's beyond and frame the river's flow. I accept nature's invitation to travel the path of faith. Our Savior walked and left a trail to save the human race. Standing on the edge of life, I see a boat from afar leaving, following that enormous trail, bringing me one step closer to believing. And the clouds above me shield the sun, but its infinite light remains. I'm guided by the knowledge that my life is not in vain. With my faith in hand, humanity living on a strand, I'm setting off into that majestic boat for a much better tomorrow in New Wonderland. This poem won an award, second place for Best Collaborative Poem in October.
Oh.
The Passion of Poetry.
It's beautiful.
Thank
Again,
you.
can you see where any of your work stands out, or do you feel that kind of ownership with this one as well?
It's about the same. I love how this one came together. I'm still seeing it's a picture of a woman, and you see a body of water before her, and she's standing on a rock looking out at the vast body of water. Mm-hmm. And we both felt the same thing. It was a spiritual connection at that point. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's really remarkable. And it's interesting because you're talking about conceivably different cultures.
Right.
I'm looking at just the spelling of the names of both of your collaborators, and mm-hmm. although they're from the UK, they have an ethnic heritage of.
I believe so. Mm-hmm. I don't know their heritage though.
But we can see that
history.
They probably are not British by
exactly.
Well, British by birth, because they may have been there all of their lives. Right. But it seems that there's a connection with another continent, another country.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes,
that's a distinct.
They are beautiful people and amazing poets. I was honored.
And I'm bringing that up because it seems that no matter what the background, the unifying factor is the communication, the spirituality.
Yes, I agree.
And the intentionality of getting that message across,
Mm-hmm. We plan to do more.
Oh, wonderful. Do you think that might turn out to be a separate book, a whole volume?
You never know. We don't have anything in the works, but you never know. I'm not saying no. My sister-in-law told me, don't say what I won't do ever again. Because a year and a half ago, I said, I'm not speaking. I just want to write. I want to be behind the scenes, and look at me now.
Yeah, indeed. Look at you now. But you're not the only writer in your family. Your husband wrote an incredible tribute introducing this volume. Yes. And has he always had the ability to write?
My husband, he's not necessarily written so much or published. He's an orator. He's an awesome speaker.
Okay.
He's an amazing speaker. His words, his gift of gab is beautiful. And one day last summer, I was having lunch with a friend, Leslie Carpenter, and I shared the plans for my book. And I told her my thoughts about the chapter themes and the gold, the different variations of gold. And she was so excited. She said, oh my God, the refining fire of God. And it touched me so deeply. I thought, oh my forward has to focus on that message. And who better than James Johns II, my husband, to write that forward. And he did an amazing job, didn't he, Emma?
Oh, no question, no question.
He makes me stand taller, first of all, but his words are so beautiful. And I'll share that he has a poem at the beginning of the book. I won't read it. You gotta get the book to read his expression.
Yes, your whole book, this book is just chock full of meaningful, beautifully. I'm running out of words. I'm clearly not a poet here, So
if you're running out of words.
So let's just say, get the book. Get the book. Really, it's a remarkable volume. It really is. And I would even say that it may be life-changing for some people.
Oh, man.
Because you never know who's going to read it and
I hope so.
or what they're going to find. What I see throughout continually is the intentionality of the journey. You have been explaining that as we've been talking, and yes. It's clear to me that what you intend is to share the love that you receive. So that's where the gratitude comes from. And, you know, sometimes people can just tell you things and you might hear the message, but this is experiential. So things that we experience are more meaningful to us. And you have a way of writing that just takes the words off the page and just allows us to enter into your space and to share that vision. So it's not like being lectured to. It's an experience. It's really a journey. And by the end of the book, we understand what it means to be refined, you know, to have gone through various experiences, and they're the kinds of experiences that you write about that we all can relate to. So there literally is something for everybody.
There is. And that was the plan. Let me put out goodness, even when I'm talking about painful topics or things that upset me. I always want to offer hope within the expression. That's my intent. Put love and hope in every expression.
And you do that. I had, excuse me, downloaded practically the whole book because I really am more comfortable, excuse me, working with the print. I'm old-fashioned. I like to hold the paper, but I couldn't get it delivered soon enough to have it ready for our chat today. So
we will make do.
Yes. So I saw you do use humor. And
let's see.
I liked Life's Gives and Takes, and this one, page 32.
32. That's a good one, Emma.
Subtle and friendly, and with a little advice sprinkled in.
Simple. Now this is as simple as it gets, right?
Yes.
This one's called Life's Gives and Takes. Give a little, take a lot. Give up, never give up. Give in, never give in. Take it easy. Give me a break. Take note. Take heed. Take your time. Take over. Give a minute. Take a minute. Give away. Take away. Take it back. Give it back. Take a day. Give a talk. Take a break. Take a walk. Take up space. Give me room. Take my breath away. Give and receive. Give your all. Take it all in. Give an organ. Give hope. Give life. Take a nap. Take a leave. Give it a rest. Give a care. Give a damn. Take your temp. Give it time. Take your turn. Give your best. Take it all. Take his name. Take out the trash. Give a hug. Give a hand. Take a chance. Give it a shot. Take his nerve. Take a hike. Give a hint. Take for granted. Take nothing for granted. Take a shot. Take over. Take good care. That's a fun one.
I love that. I do. Oh my goodness. You know, I'm seeing also in your poems some influences. I'm seeing a little Nikki Giovanni show up in there a little bit.
That's my girl.
Okay. How would you say Nikki's influenced you, and where does that show up in your writing?
Oh boy. She influenced me first to pick up the pen and write. That's the beginning of my poetic journey.
Okay.
Started with Nikki Giovanni, with seeing her in person on the University of Colorado's campus in 1976. I've shared this before. She touched me deeply when I heard her recite Ego Trippin'. Woo, man, so amazing. But that's the beginning. I hear her voice. Her poems, she's a force to be reckoned with. And I love her as she's become more seasoned throughout the years, you know, with living. She says what's on her mind. She always has and always will. And I love that about her. I don't know that I'm as brave as she is to say everything that's on my mind, but her voice rings. I want to talk about things that make me mad, but I want to give hope like she does. I want to talk about good stuff. I want to talk about fun stuff. She writes about painful stuff. She writes about cooking and food, all the stuff I love to think about and write about, the things that touch her heart. So like Nikki Giovanni, I write about the things that touch me deeply. That's how she shows up for me.
Well, you covered all those bases because you are writing about from your experiences, and you
Yes.
do write with real authenticity.
Yes.
That's what I hear. That's what I hear.
And you know, you mentioned Nikki Giovanni. I'm gonna, if you're okay, I might share a poem it was accepted to a social justice anthology that's coming up in a couple months. And I'm also helping with that project. I might do some of the editing. Prolific Pulse Press is publishing that anthology, and I have a few poems featured in there, in addition to a collaborative poem that Safraz Ahmed and I submitted.
Okay.
So if I may,
please.
I'm going to share a poem. This one is not included in After the Rainbow, but it is one that will touch you as soon as I find it.
Okay.
It's entitled Now You Know.
Oh.
And I can tell you that I wrote this poem after seeing the exhibit, the John Lewis exhibit at the Atlanta airport.
Okay.
Have you ever seen that exhibit?
No, I have not, no.
Okay. Well, he was one of my heroes, and I'm sure yours, Congressman,
Absolutely.
the late Congressman John
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes.
And after being so deeply moved by that exhibit, I came back home and wrote this poem.
Okay.
It's called Now You Know. Had they known he would be a noble statesman, would they have hosed the protesters on Selma's bloody Sunday? Had they known he was there to spark good trouble, would they have let their horses overrun the crowd? Had they known he would lead this nation's Peace Corps, would they have cruelly beaten him with billy clubs? Had they known he would compose great books and legislation, would they have intentionally fractured his skull? Had they known he would sit across from US presidents, would they have defended Jim Crow and corruption? Had they known he would secure voting rights for all, would they have tear gassed everyone within reach? Had they known he would rise in American history, would they have brutally knocked him to the ground? Had they known he'd be called the conscience of Congress, would they have called him all those terrible names? Had they known he'd received the Presidential Medal of Freedom, would they have forcefully and repeatedly locked him up? Had they known he'd lie in state as an honored official, would they have deterred his crossing of that bridge? There is at least one John Lewis in every peaceful protest. No excuses. Now you know.
Whew, that is powerful. That is very powerful.
I feel that one when I read it.
That is very powerful.
Thank you.
And what a legitimate question.
Yes. Yes.
Because you are telling the truth.
It's truth.
There's at least one. At least one.
At least one. Now you know.
Now you know. No excuses.
Ooh.
Yes. I'm agreeing.
We went there, Emma. That one touches me deeply.
Well, it's touching all of us. You're a remarkable writer. You're a remarkable writer. You're listening to truth.
I appreciate hearing that.
Well, it's like I was saying a little earlier before we started this recording. We are really spiritual beings.
Yes.
Having a human experience.
We are.
And you are forefront, you are thoroughly expressing your spirituality through your humanness. And that is why so many of us can connect to your work.
I'm glad. I'm answering a calling.
Yes.
I'm being obedient, humbly serving.
Beautiful, just beautiful.
Thank you, Emma.
Thank you. You have a poem that actually says that in many ways, in different ways. And I'm going to ask you to read one more.
Okay.
It's called Empty Space. I actually have the page number, 67.
67.
Yes.
Empty space. Better get my glasses for that one. Be not deceived by an empty space. Engage all your senses. Feel the invisible essence of what occupies what appears to be vacant. With every breath, take in what you cannot see, matter and energy from what came before. Life, eternal and infinite, goes on and on and on. With each breath, imagine what will follow. I inhale and receive the love that God pours into me. I keep all that I need. My soul is changed. I add my essence and send the remainder out into the world. Love occupies that space. It is not empty.
Drop the mic.
I love it.
I had to drop it for you.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Whew.
Well, Zaneta, I really would like you to read every single poem.
By time our listeners will get tired.
I don't think so, but we want them to go out and get the book so they can have their own copy.
Yes, we do.
And can read it in their own space and time and convenience and just simply enjoy the experience.
Yes.
This is a holy work that you have done. And I think, in fact, I am clear that anyone who takes the time to read any of your poems is going to receive the blessing that is intended, because it's going from on high through you. That's it. Hold that book up, because I want everybody to see.
Yes. And Emma, I didn't mention there are two versions, two editions. The first one is a gold signature edition where I have pictures. I have colorful pictures in the book. And the other one is a black and white edition.
Okay. Well, everybody needs
options.
Get the color. Get the color.
Get the color.
Yes.
Get the color. Yes.
They're so rich. And I wanted to speak about that as well. The illustrations are so perfect that really when you see them with the writing, you can't imagine that anything else would go there. They're just perfect. It just fits.
I agree. I agree. I have to say kudos to my publisher, Lisa Tomei. I went with a small press this time to work with another creative, another poet. The experience was phenomenal. Together, I believe we have a masterpiece.
Oh, no question. Absolutely do. It is. It's wonderful. Well, Miss Zaneta, I want to thank you. Thank you so much for just taking time to share you with all of us, because the folks we're rejoicing right now. And those we can't see are tap dancing because they're so happy.
The pleasure was mine. Thank you for being such a wonderful hostess. Thank you for having me again, Emma.
Well, you're welcome back anytime.
Okay.
Anytime.
I'm coming back.
And you need to keep us updated on some of your experiences, your journeys,
I will.
Places that you're presenting. And if you want to send a video or something back, let me know. We can incorporate that.
Okay, I'll do that.
All right. So give Jim a hug.
Will do. Same. And please hug my friend, my brother Michael.
Okay.
James Michael Brody.
Yes. I will do that. And thank you again. This is wonderful. I always enjoy talking to you, and I always learn something. And you're an excellent teacher.
Thank you, Emma.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.
See you soon.
Okay.